Let's talk about the article that you wrote, though. You recently wrote it. It's titled Obama's Little Secrets on Gitmo Closure. You say some pretty serious things in this article. You say that if and when detainees are moved stateside, judges could release them across America onto Main Street, USA. Explain this to me. How on earth could this happen?
That's absolutely right, because of the law in our country that once the detainee gets here, it's the judge that's going to decide if he stays in or not, if he or she decides if they stay in or not. And the example I have is during the Bush administration when I was a Pentagon spokesman, we had 3 enemy combatants at the Charleston Brig. They were held in indefinite detention. They're not there anymore because judges ruled to release them. So of the 107 detainees at Guantanamo, about half are held in an indefinite detention status because we didn't have battlefield detectives running after them in Pakistan or Afghanistan. So if they're moved into prisons in Colorado, Kansas, and South Carolina, like the president plans to do, like he wants to do, judges could release those guys on the Main Street, USA, if other countries don't take them. So that's his little secret on Gitmo. If he moves them in, the judges could let them out. It's the judge's call, not his.
Now, is this a scary possibility or is this a probability?
No, that's a probability. If he releases them into the United States, not only do those states become terror magnets, because the terrorists from Al-Qaeda, the Islamic State, they can't get down to Gitmo. They can easily get to Colorado, Kansas, and South Carolina, and they could recruit there. But it's definitely a probability that judges would release some of these guys onto Main Street, USA. The worst of the worst, say the 9/11 plotters, they wouldn't be released, but about half of those 107 would be.
Right, maybe ones that don't have the same high name recognition or just worked as lower-level operatives within the organization. And that is a terrifying proposition, something I'm glad you're bringing attention to. Now, the second secret you discuss in your article is about returning Guantanamo Bay Naval Base to the Cubans. And you say this would help cement Obama's legacy as the man who, quote, transformed America. Are you talking about the entire naval base here?
Yes, I am. He wants to transform America because he's a product of our left-wing indoctrination system at universities. If you travel around to Latin America, Liz, I spent 7 years working and traveling in Latin America. Some people say the United States is the empire. You ask them why. The #1 reason they cite is because of Guantanamo Bay, the base. They say, well, you're there. The Castro brothers don't want you there. The government of Cuba doesn't want you there. You're an empire. You have to get rid of it. I think President Obama believes that, too. I think that these people who wore Che Guevara T-shirts in college are now running the White House, essentially. So I think he would return it to the Cubans if he could. That's why Ben Rhodes from the National Security Council was in Canada last year negotiating in secret with the Cuban government to restore diplomatic relations. Ben Rhodes, who is a right-hand man for Obama, he ran away from Washington. He ran to Canada to do these negotiations. That should be investigated because that was out of sight of Congress, out of sight of the American people. So if they lie to us about that, to hold these very sensitive negotiations with the Cubans out of sight, out of mind, then of course they could return the base of Cuba. That would be out of sight, out of mind as well.
Yeah, that's shameful that they would do that in secret. Now, quickly before we go, do you expect Obama to successfully shut down Guantanamo Bay before he's out of office next year?
He very well may do it. I hope not. The Congress should pass a law right now to prevent him from returning the base to the Cubans, because if he closes the detention facility, I think that's next. So if they make it impossible for him to return the base, like pass a law now to prevent it, then I think that he very well may, in his last month or so in office, just fly them all here and voila, we have detainees, then judges would release them over the next few years.